Hello everybody, and welcome to my Flash episode 10 review. It is the mid-season premiere, and it is titled Revenge of the Rogues. Now, if you remember episode 4, mid-November, late November, episode 4 aired titled Going Rogue, and it featured the introduction of Captain Cold, Leonard Stark, I think was his name. And he makes his return. And if you remember, at the end of the episode, we see him steal a fire gun, and he gives it to a friend. It looks like he has like a little lighter, and now both of these characters are in it. And kind of the big group in the Flash Rogues gallery consists of like Captain Cold, Heatwave, Mirror Master, Captain Boomerang, etc. They make up a group of villains called the Rogues. New 52 from 2011 reboot of the DC Comics, Volume 2 of the Flash is Rogues Revolution. It's their Rogues storyline, and now we're starting to see the Rogues come into the Flash verse. We had Captain Cold in episode 4. Now we're introducing episode 10, Heatwave. And at the end of this episode, Leonard Stark, Captain Cold, mentions his sister. So could that be number 3? Possibly. We don't know yet. Hopefully we'll get to see more Rogues by the end of this season. We are just over the halfway point of the season. Episode like 11 or 12 is halfway point of Arrow and Flash, and we just watched episode 14 earlier this week. So let's go ahead and jump in. This was a fantastic episode, a good way to return to the show, I think. Really show off meta powers versus, kind of science, which is what this show is done with Cold and Heatwave. In the pre-New 52, Cold and Heatwave had guns, and they've kept that for this. But in the New 52, they actually have superpowers, like every other character in in Flash so far. They kept the original power sets, how they use their powers pre-New 52 with the guns. So that's kind of interesting. But let's go ahead and jump in. Number 5, Cold gives Flash his iconic nickname, the Scarlet Speedster. It is mentioned a couple more times throughout the show from here on out, but this is the first time that we hear the nickname Scarlet Speedster, which is really cool, that we get to see his actual nickname. This isn't really much of a number 5 kind of thing. There were a lot of the stuff could have been grouped in one category. That's kind of what I've done, as we'll see throughout the rest of this review. So Scarlet Speedster gets his nickname, which is really neat. I liked that. Number 4, Iris moves out. It moves in with Eddie, which we don't really see much for the rest of the season. We haven't seen Eddie much. Hopefully we'll get to see a more Eddie-centric episode, or Eddie will make his return into the show. But after this episode, we don't really see Eddie much. This is kind of Eddie's last hurrah for a little while. And then Barry moves in to his old house. Not his old house. Like, moves in with Joe. He was kind of living as an apartment, but now it's like, apparently it was far away or something, and my computer is freezing. I don't know what's going on. But now Barry moves in with Joe, so it'll make things a lot easier living with someone who... Oh, this is what it was. But Barry's having a hard time telling his, not roommates, like floor mates or like landlords what's going on with him. So it's easier to live with Joe, who knows that Barry is the Flash. It's easier to live that way. So Barry's now moved in with Joe, which is kind of neat. Number 3, at the beginning of this episode is kind of a training montage. Barry is determined to become Flash so he can take down the man in the yellow suit. And through this little sequence, Cisco gives him the reverse Flash, and Wells actually kind of gives his thumb of approval for that one. Caitlin was like, Harrison's like, I kind of like it, of course, because he is the reverse Flash. Of course he's going to like it. But Barry is refining his skills. He's becoming a lot faster, and we see this by him fighting drones that Cisco's controlling, and Cisco shoots a missile, and we can see Barry moving normal speed, like for us would be normal speed, but the missile's moving really slow, and Barry's able to catch it and blew up the drone, and Cisco is like, oh, that's my favorite. But it was really neat. And then they say, oh, we have 2 more, and they have lasers, and Caitlin and Harrison are like, no, at the same time. So that was kind of funny. But to see Barry refining his skills, he is getting a lot faster, which is really good. He'll need it to take down Harrison, or whoever is the reverse Flash. Number 2, we have a little bit more Firestorm. We don't see Firestorm. We don't see Robbie Amell. We don't see Ronnie Ramone, sorry, Ronnie. But we do, Caitlin is investigating Firestorm, and the guy she was talking to says, let it go. But we do learn that Firestorm is an acronym. I didn't write down what it is, and I don't remember what it is from future episodes. But we do get more development on the Firestorm matrix and what it is. More on that in a couple episodes, because we get more Firestorm stuff later on. Finally, number one, the final showdown between the Flash and Heatwave and Captain Cold. Really interesting. He didn't want to take him down, but as they're talking, they're like, cross the beams, which is Ghostbusters. Because heat and ice would counteract each other, so Barry like runs like we have. Okay, guys are coming in handy right now. See, we have this is Cold, this is Heatwave, and they're shooting at Barry, and Barry is like up here. He runs in between them, and the beams are hitting him, and he goes through them, and the beams catching each other, and the guns, as far as I know, they break. I'm sure they'll fix them somehow, but as far as we know, the guns. Okay, how did I and then put flashback, right? That's what that was. There we go. It was really cool to see how Barry ended up defeating them. It was really cool. Like, the police had it blocked off just for like a little block of space for the Flash to take on the two rogue characters. So it was a really cool showdown between Heatwave and Captain Cold teaming up against the Flash. That is going to be all for this episode. Tune in later today for my Arrow season premiere review, which is probably the better of the two episodes. False. I'll talk more about it. But I think Flash is a better season premiere just because it brings in, to me, there are kind of three big villains for the Flash. We have all incarnations of the Reverse Flashes. We have the Rogues, which is kind of the group of them, and then we have Gorilla Grodd, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Really excited for that. I think, when did we see Grodd? Have we seen Grodd yet? I'm not sure. But Grodd is a thing. It's happening. Spoilers. But yeah, this was a better episode just to see the Rogues kind of getting together and starting to actually form, not just Captain Cold by himself like we said. We're actually starting to see team-ups with the villains. So hopefully we get to see that group build even more. So that's going to be all. I've been Epic Gamer. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. And until next time, God bless. See you then.